Hello everyone, I'm Reza Rad from Radacad, and thank you for watching us with another interview with Microsoft Fabric product team. And we have the pleasure this time to have a chat with Bogdan Crivat. Hey Bogdan.
Hey Reza, pleasure to see you again. Hello everybody. Thank you very much for having me again on your channel.
Thank you. Yeah, we had the chat before in previous year for some of the updates coming in the FabCon that time. And this time we are having another chat with the updates announced in the FabCon this year, which was actually a lot of interesting things. And my favorite one being Migration Assistant, but there are tons of other things as well. So before we jump into some of those discussions, would you please introduce yourself, which area of the product you are leading, what is your role?
Of course. So my role is Corporate Vice President for Azure Data Analytics. That means that I'm running the teams that are dealing with big data analytics. Specifically, it means data engineering, that for Spark, data warehousing, and the team that is building the AI components in Fabric, the data agents.
That is right. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you are also having the responsibility of the current Azure Synaps as well as the Microsoft Fabric,
That
right?
is true. Spark and data warehousing are also big on the previous generation, the Synaps stack. Yes,
Right.
and they're
Correct.
still the same organization.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Now, before again talking about those updates, just one thing that some of users are still dubious and thinking about it is that they don't have a clear view of what is going to happen to Synaps now that we have Microsoft Fabric Warehouse and things like that. Can you elaborate more on that? Like, will the Synaps be supported and things like that?
Absolutely. So Synaps is fully supported. It's a very mature product. We spend years building it and making it very, very solid. And many of our customers have spent years migrating to Synaps. The architecture that we have in the old Synaps stack does not allow us to do a number of things that we can do in Fabric. So what we are doing is that we are going to preserve Synaps. We are investing in maintaining the level of quality. We are supporting our customers. We are bringing all the security in the system up to date. We are removing any kind of vulnerabilities. But we are not investing in much technology innovation on the Synaps platform. Mm-hmm. Most of the technology investment is going to the Fabric platform. Now, there will be a day at some point when we are going to discontinue and deprecate the Synaps platform, but that day is not here today, and it's not. I don't foresee it coming anytime soon. So if you are a Synaps customer, keep using it. We are here to support you, and we are trying to make sure that Fabric becomes a very, very attractive destination for you before even considering discontinuing the platform that you are using today.
That is correct. And yeah, as you mentioned, you can still keep using Synaps. There is no pressure for you to move to Fabric. If you bring things into the Fabric, you have other things around Synaps as well that you can use. But your Synaps solution would still work as it is. Perfect. Thank you for mentioning that. So let's talk about some of the interesting updates that we had in the FabCon announcement, one of them being the migration tool that helps Synaps users to move their solution into the Fabric.
There are many updates. One of the updates that impressed me personally quite a bit is the fact that we had more than 6,000 people coming to Las Vegas to actually attend the Fabric conference. It is, it's an update because we are a new product, right? We don't have 18 months since our GA. We GA'd close to 1.5 years ago in November 2023. It is humbling to see that so many people are interested in what we are doing. It is humbling to see how much passion they put in the projects they are developing with Fabric. So for me, that was a fantastic update. It is a very interesting feeling to see how many people actually want you to succeed and give you very, very direct feedback, very constructive feedback on how you are not helping them succeed. So it's been a very, very impressive experience. Feature-wise, we announced tons of new features. Some of them that I'm particularly excited about. So coming from my organization, I'm going to call those out. First, like you're pointing out, we have a migration story from Data Warehouse Gen 2 or from, in general, from SQL databases to Fabric Data Warehouse. Now, Fabric Data Warehouse is not a general replacement for any SQL database. SQL databases can be used operationally and can be used for analytics. If you are doing operational workloads such as high transactions, lots of insert updates, you want to get thousands of operations per second, Fabric SQL database is a better offering. But if you are doing massive analytics, if you have data that is spanning months or years and you want to do the massive select group bys that are characterizing reports, then Fabric Data Warehouse is the best place for you to be on Azure, right? If you want to run SQL analytics, then Fabric Data Warehouse is the best place on Azure. It's a massively parallel solution. It's completely re-architected. It has the ability to scale up and down the resources. It minimizes your cost. But more than anything else, you have a fully transactional warehouse, right? So you use it the same way you are using Data Warehouse Gen 2. But the data is stored in the open format that characterizes everything that we have in Fabric. So basically, you have the best of a lakehouse and the warehouse system. It's a real warehouse with transactions, stored procedures, your code migrates. It's also a real lakehouse because the data is in an open format that can be used by Fabric data engineering, Fabric Spark, Fabric machine learning, or Power BI with the new Direct Lake model. So the migration technology is open in public preview right now. Of course, the migration would not be very useful if we didn't fill some of the syntactic gap that we have between the surface area of Fabric Data Warehouse and Gen 2. So also many of the features that make migration difficult in terms of dialect, the SQL dialect, have now shipped or are about to ship over the next 1 or 2 months. So you should take a look at this right now.
Yeah, the migration definitely helps a lot because it's always hard to get buy-in from the C-level, executive level in any businesses that we are going to invest, let's say, 6 months work, multiple resources to do the migration, but having a tool that can help do that much faster, much more efficient is always helpful. And I also liked what you mentioned about like the amount of people attended the FabCon Vegas, because that shows like the level of interest in this product, people who are investing, training, getting to learn this. Like I remember one of my friends, when they saw some of the videos and photos, they said, oh my God, like there are so many people looking at Fabric, so this should be something I should go and learn.
We fill the stadium. We actually fill the stadium. It has been a fantastic experience.
Yes, yeah. No, that's amazing. So, so looking at let's say data engineering, Spark, data warehousing aspect of Microsoft Fabric, it has came a long way, right? So we had it in Azure Synaps.
Let me, because I mentioned my favorite feature in data warehouse. May I mention my favorite features that we announced at FabCon in the data engineering, in the Spark side, or in data science?
Yes, please.
So on the Spark side, we have a couple of interesting things. So first, we have announced almost 1 year ago the new native execution engine. And the native execution engine is basically, it's a pure open source solution that is performing much faster than the vanilla Spark, right? It's a C++ native engine that much better performance. And we are getting it very, very close to GA. And we show the progress that we have with the native execution engine. Now it's available in public preview to everybody. We are going very quickly towards GA. And we introduce a new billing model for Spark. You know, very frequently the data preparation tasks, like Spark workloads that you are doing weekly or monthly, are disproportionately large compared to the rest of your regular consumption, right? And you know, in Fabric, we have this capacity model that is actually quite convenient if your consumption is within standard parameters, right? Because you can do a bit of bursting, we don't charge you, but then it smoothens out. Now, if you are adding a massive data preparation job in Spark, that kind of changes a bit the balance of your capacity. So many of our customers complain that the capacity model is kind of suffering when you're doing Spark. So now we have a way to run Spark completely outside of the capacity model, right? So it's pure serverless payment, right? You pay for as much as you are utilizing, separate from the capacity. So your Power BI interactive reporting stays smoothly on a capacity, just like in Power BI Gen 2. Right. While the Spark itself is going to use as much resources as you allow it to use, and is not impacting the rest of your workloads. So this is also a great announcement for Spark. The second thing that we announced, and it builds on top of this native execution engine, which gives us a really good performance. We announced materialized views for Spark, right? So you have a declarative way of defining pipelines within Spark, data preparation pipelines. So you have complex directed acyclic graphs that show you how whenever something changes in this table, you are doing more processing and create derivative tables. And that allows you to create basically views that are optimized for reporting, right? So you can include everything in this chain of transformations, right? We can put data quality there, and now you have a full Spark solution that is taking your data from ingestion all the way to the materialized view that is going to support your Power BI Direct Lake model. It's a really nice technology. I'm super bullish about the perspective of this technology, and our users seem to have liked it very much. That's on the data engineering side.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite features as well, because previously, if we created a view using that, then we would lose our direct lake connection, things like that.
Precisely.
Whereas this one is giving me the ability to customize, add a calculated column or things like that using that materialized view at the same time.
Various group bias and all this, yes.
Correct. And also the one that you mentioned before, because that was and still is a real concern for some people, that what if I'm running a job on a Spark that caused throttling in my capacity, which would then cause my Power BI users to see the report slower, things like that. So having that separate the Spark, let's say, compute power compared to what, in addition to what we have in our capacity, is a really helpful feature. I'm sure a lot of people would like that. So now that we have all of these and we came a long way, what do you see as the roadmap, as the things to come? What is your vision in data warehousing and data engineering in Microsoft Fabric?
In both of these areas, I think we have many of the critical technologies that are needed right now. Our focus over the next few months is to make sure that we polish all the quality issues that we may have. We want to make sure that many of the things that we have in public preview are actually evolving to GA, and they're fully operational and can be trusted by our customers. So to some extent on Spark and data warehousing, over the next 6 months, you should see a massive focus on removing glitches and making sure that the experience is as good as possible for all the features that we have in the toolbox right now. Correct. And we are investing significantly in the AI part, in the data agent. You will see the data agent taking on a new velocity, right? It's not technically a FabCon announcement, but we have released a new version of what used to be called AI Skills a few weeks before CAB and before the FabCon. And in FabCon, we announced that we changed the name of the AI skill to what is now Fabric Data Agent. And I think it's a much better name, because Fabric Data Agent basically opens the AI communication.
What it is.
Right, it describes better what it is, and the data agents actually can talk to so many things in Fabric, right? So what you are going to see over the next semester, you are going to see how these data agents are becoming more and more powerful. They are going to leverage the capabilities that we introduce in data warehouse. They are going to leverage the capabilities introduced in Spark. I don't know if you've noticed, but Fabric data agents can talk with the real-time intelligence, which is one of the stars of the ecosystem, right? So all of a sudden, you can bring in the same conversation in a single question to a data agent. You can get an answer that is based on information from your Power BI semantic model, from your lakehouse, as well as from your real-time intelligence system. So the data agents are kind of bringing everything together in a very conversational interaction with Fabric.
Yeah, I like that example you mentioned as well, because it shows how Fabric integrates all of these together, right? You connect with one of these, you use the data agent to ask the question about one of these, and you get the response from the rest. Of course, I'm going to talk about data agent in detail with Nelly in another video, but yeah, I'm a big fan of changing that AI skills to data agent, because AI skills was more like a certification to get, whereas data agent is actually what
it's a real thing.
Yeah, you can understand what it is doing. That sounds great. And tell us also about like what are the ways that your team prioritizing different, let's say, features in their pipeline. Of course, the ideas forum is one of the places, but do you have other channels that you get some ideas that what is good to be implemented and what is the priority?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Ideas is a great point of collecting feedback. In Ideas, we are seeing all our users going there and submitting and voting for their ideas, and it's a really strong signal for our organization. We also have a forum which is called the Enterprise Voice with some of the largest customers, and we are also listening to their needs because we are trying to. Like, Fabric is a big project, right? Deploying Fabric is a major endeavor inside an organization. If you have Power BI, maybe not so much, but if you start from scratch, it touches many aspects of your organization. So we want to hear from the practitioners. We want to hear from the data warehouse practitioners, Spark practitioners, data science practitioners, Power BI practitioners. But we also want to hear from their managers. We want to hear from their architects. We want to hear from their business users. So this is why we are trying to collect feedback from different classes of Fabric stakeholders. And the way we do is that we collect this feedback, we track this feedback quite often. I think we are tracking this kind of feedback at least once a month, sometimes even more frequently. And we keep track of which are the most significant user wishes and how they're bubbling up. Sometimes it may feel that an idea is voted on the Ideas Forum and it takes us a year to implement, but that's because some other things are bubbling up very frequently. So we keep a close eye on what our customers want. So in general, we are reviewing the feedback about twice a year, and we have two major planning sessions. Right, and this is where we decide what we intend to ship over the next 6 months. But we are tactically adjusting the list and reacting to customer feedback practically every month. So it's a continuous fine-tuning exercise.
That is great. So anyone watching this video, make sure that there are, like, as you can see, there are multiple channels to give the feedback to the team. Of course, the Ideas Forum, we'll put the link down in the description below. So make sure to check it out. And the team is watching that, so they have a process to check it. And your voice will be heard. It's not something that you.
We're also watching very carefully the Reddit forums, which are amazing. We see lots of interactivity. We really love our users that are coming on Reddit and stating their questions, giving us their feedback. I love to go there at least once a day to see what are the trending topics. Maybe sometimes I can answer, sometimes I can learn from some of those users.
That sounds great. That's amazing. Anything else you would like to mention that I didn't ask about?
There are lots of other fantastic things in Fabric. I'm sure you are going to talk to many of my colleagues. One of the things that I really like that has been announced at FabCon is the ability of the Power BI system now to create direct lake models that are spanning multiple artifacts. So you have the ability, even in desktop, to now point to, let's say, a dimensional table that lives in a warehouse. The fact table that is constructed by Spark in a lakehouse, right? And you can blend them together in a single semantic model that is going to use direct lake everywhere. And last but not least, again, is something that spans Fabric. We are talking about this for about 2 years, and it turned out to be a bit harder to implement than all of us thought. But finally, one lake security is there, is real, is no longer just an intention. And that's a pretty amazing system, right? If you come to think of it, it's the first system that I'm aware in the industry where the fine-grained security primitives, such as row-level security, column-level security, are engine independent, right? So you don't need to lock down your data behind a specific engine or system in order to do RLS or CLS. You have all these fine-grained permissions directly in the storage and are enforced and respected by all the edges, whether Microsoft engines or built by other vendors. So that's another great thing that has been announced and demonstrated. I think Patrick went on stage. Patrick LeBlanc,
Patrick
the first live demo. It's fantastic. Yes.
Yeah, both of these are actually my favorite options. The kind of like creating composite model. It's not really composite model, but the ability to bring a table from this lake house and then another from that warehouse, still in a direct lake mode. That is That is amazing. And of course, that row-level security across the entire area, rather than like replicating that row-level security in Power BI, having it in warehouse separately. Now we have it across the entire thing, which is amazing, which is what it should be. And as you mentioned, I don't think any other vendors, they do have this process, because it's not that integrated. They're different areas, because the reporting is a different technology. Usually the data warehousing is a different technology. So thank you for mentioning.
Did you have an opportunity? The other thing that I want to okay, pimp to you, it's another feature that is remarkable. It's one of my favorites. It's not in my organization, but I just love to see how it grows. The real-time intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
It's opening up scenarios that are just impossible with classical analytical stacks.
Correct.
The scale at which they're operating is just fantastic. And I love how real-time intelligence complements the work we are doing in analytics. I love how they change the conversation in the data agents, right? Because all of a sudden, you don't need all your data to be cleanly processed. You can see the most recent signals that are coming from telemetry or what else. So that's another fantastic angle in Fabric.
Yes, yeah, and I agree totally with that, because with that we can have like our more recent, let's say the last 1 hour of data, so frequent in a real-time dashboard, as well as passing it to more, let's say, detailed descriptive analytics, or even prescriptive analytics, or anything like that that we can have on the top of it from a warehouse or from a lakehouse with some machine learning on the top, things like that. So combination of real-time intelligence with the data engineering and data warehousing is definitely,
it's amazing.
a great path to go for a lot of businesses. Aviation, retail, the health industry, tons of those. I'm a big fan of real-time intelligence. So yeah, definitely like that. I'm going to put your LinkedIn URL down in the description below, but do you have any other preferred channels for people to get in touch with you?
I'm spending lots of time on Reddit. You will find me there. Ask your questions, tag me if you want. I'll be glad to start the conversation and to learn from you, or reach out to me on LinkedIn. Yes.
Sounds great, and thank you for that. And thank you for your time. I really appreciate that, for both managing this product and bringing it to the life as we are using it. And I'm sure this would get more mature and mature as we go. And also, thank you for your time for this interview. Really appreciate that.
And thank you so much for everything you do to evangelize this product and to bring users together and tell them the amazing power of what we have in Fabric.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for watching this video. Until the next video, bye.
Thank you.